So to start Season 3 of Timmy's TV Throwback, we are going to learn our ABCs as we look at the Malaysian preschool series, ABC Monsters. The show follows Alice, Brian, and Cherry Berry as they must make sure the monsters of Capital Castle are back home safely in the Alphabet Gardens every night by sunset, otherwise all the letters will be wiped clean from every book in the town. The show lasted for one season with 26 episodes being made in total. The show aired from 2015. There are many characters we meet throughout the show. So now that we have the background, let's take a look at a couple of episodes. First up we have Arrows Gone Astray. So we get greeted to Capital Town as someone then shoots at the sign. We then meet Cherry Berry as she comes to take off the arrow. The narrator wonders what she is doing as she heads to the castle. We then see a bunch of monsters working away as they're getting ready to play with some bow and arrows. Some of the monsters get trapped in the boughs as we then get to the stage. The narrator reads the sign as she explains the contest as a monster polishes the trophies. The narrator asks the monster for his views as a monster says he will win the contest as he has been practicing all year. All of a sudden everyone arrives as the king has something important to say. He opens the contest as everyone cheers. Brian then asks everyone to come collect their arrows from him as he then opens the box to find it only has one arrow. The king can't believe it as he says there isn't enough arrows for everyone as he then cancels the contest. Everyone can't believe it as everyone is then upset. The queen then has an idea as she says someone is missing as she orders Alice to make sure everyone is here. Cherry Berry then magics the monsters in order as we then sing the ABC song. We then find out A is missing as Alice can't believe a monster has disappeared as they then look in the book as we then get a question. The compass points to northeast as the gang then head off in that direction. So they walk around as Brian then gets wet as Alice and Cherry Berry laugh. They then get wet themselves as they then get annoyed. So they go to find out where the water is coming from as they spot a swimming pool as they see an alligator upset. They go over as they ask what she is doing here. She explains a monster told her to learn how to swim as she explains she has lost one of the armbands. The gang say they will find it for her as she explains what it looks like. The gang go to look for it as they then find it. Everyone is happy as the alligator thanks them. Brian then solves the question from earlier as they spell it out. The alligator then gives them another question as the gang head off as they then get lost in some woods. Brian says he is hungry as they then hear some noise. It is a farmer on his tractor as the gang head over. They ask what the farmer is up to as he explains he always sits on that log to eat lunch. He then falls off the tractor as he is embarrassed. So he picks all his food as he then notices his apple is missing as the gang then go look for it. They then find it as the farmer is then happy. Alice then solves the second question as they spell it out. The farmer then gives them another clue as the gang head off to find a monster. They spot a sign about an archery club as Brian is confused. They then hear some noises as they head to the bushes. They see the archery club as everyone is firing away. They spot a monster as the gang head over to him. A monster says he just needed some practice for the contest as he says he also got his teacher to give him some arrows as Cherry Berry figures out the answer to the question. The gang are happy as they then return back to the castle as the monsters compete in the contest. A monster wins as the story ends on that note. So we get to some brainy gang thing as we talk more about the letter A. They then burst into song about the letter A. It just recaps what happened in the episode. So after that we spot a polishing his apple as Cherry Berry makes a giant A. The narrator makes us say A over and over as A then teaches us how to draw the letter A. We then get a recap of all the objects that we found during the episode. The narrator then asks us if we know any more words starting with A as the gang then dance away. Alice makes a giant A with her body as she then dances away. So the gang then spot the alligator as she comes in and says she is off to practice her swimming once again. She then says she has forgotten which way is the pool as the gang promised to help. So we get to some map as we need to spell apple once more. We then need to spell the other two words we learned today as it gets a bit repetitive. So the alligator finally gets to the pool as she thanks us for helping her as everyone cheers. The episode then ends on the ABC song once more. Next up we have Golfing Granny. So the narrator welcomes us back to the castle as we then spot some monsters carrying stuff. The gang come over with the queen's mother as the narrator explains she is staying at the castle while her home is being decorated. G-Monster then arrives with a picture of Granny as she then explains she was a golfing whiz back in the day as Alice can't believe Granny was a golfer. Granny says she hasn't played for a long time as they then force Granny to get inside as they then go to get the picture of G-Monster, but the monster is then missing. They can't believe it as Cherry Berry magics up the rest of the monsters to make sure G is the only one missing, so they sing the song once more as they figure out G is missing. Alice then asks to check the book as it then asks a question. It tells the gang to go northwest as they head off to find the letter G. They walk across town as they find the pet shop in chaos. Brian asks if the rabbit was important as Cherry Berry says no because the animal has to live underwater, so they head down the street as they arrive to some guy's house. They ask what Gary is doing as he explains he has a goldfish but has misplaced it while filling up the bowl, so asks the gang to find the goldfish for him. They find the goldfish as Gary puts him back into the bowl. Brian then figures out the first answer as they spell out goldfish. Gary then gives them a new question as the gang head off to the park. They look around as they can't find G-Monster. The gang sit down as they then spot some gorilla on the playground. She says she wants some grape juice but can't find any. She says she loves grape juice as the gang promised to find the juice for her, so they then find the juice as the gorilla then drinks up. Alice then figures out the second question as they spell grape. The gorilla then gives another question as the gang head off to the sport shop. They spot G-Monster coming out of the shop as the gang can't believe it. They rush over as G-Monster explains she is only here to learn about golf. She says she wants to play golf with the rest of the monsters as Alice then figures out the final clue, so they spell golf as the gang are then happy, so they watch Granny golf away as she scores a hole-in-one. G-Monster is happy as we then get to the brainy gang. They introduce G-Monster as they then break out into song once more and sing about the episode. It isn't as good as the A Monster song. So after that we spot G feeding the goldfish as Cherry Berry then transforms the goldfish into the letter G. The narrator makes us say G over and over as G then teaches us how to draw the letter. So we then spell the words we learnt about in the episode once more as the narrator then asks us if we know any more words starting with G, so Brian then dances away as he makes the letter G with his body. He then dances away as Granny then arrives and says she is playing golf and is lost, so we must help Granny find the next hole by spelling the words we have learnt today. So Granny finally arrives to the next hole as Granny is thankful. Everyone is happy as we then sing the ABC song once more as the episode ends on that note. Finally we have lakes and laughter. So the narrator welcomes us back to the castle as we see our monster in a rubber ring as we then see N monster run around in a net. F monster has a fishing net as the king and queen arrive. The king then makes an announcement. He says everyone will be taking a trip to the lakes today as the queen tells Cherry Berry to magic everyone up. So we sing the ABC song once more as we then find out L is missing. Alice can't believe it as Brian says they have to find him as they look in the book for clues. The compass tells the gang to go north as they head off. They walk down the country lane as someone says hi to them. The gang then spot Louise as she waves away. The gang asks what Louise is up to as she says she is looking for her lost lamb as the gang promise to help. They look in the field as they then find the lamb behind the hay. Louise is happy as Brian figures out the clue. They spell lamb as Louise then gives them the next clue. The gang head off as they then walk through the forest. They spot Larry as he is sitting down. They ask what Larry is up to as he explains his problem. He says he has lost his lamp as the gang can't believe El Monster lost the lamp as they go around and look for it. They then find the lamp as Larry is happy. Alice figures out the clue as they spell lamp. Larry gives them another clue as the gang head off to find El Monster. They look around as Brian says they have to look at the lakes, so they follow Brian as they arrive to Lyric Lake. Cherry Berry says it is wonderful as Brian can't see El Monster anywhere. So they look around some more as they find him with the captain. Everyone is happy as they go over to him. El Monster says he was planning a surprise as he says the captain was going to give everyone a boat ride but the boat had a hole, so El Monster fixed it. Alice then figures out the clue as they spell lake. Everyone is happy as all the monsters then get on the boat and enjoy the trip as El Monster drives away. That's the end of the story. So we get to Brainy Gang once more as we meet letter L once more. The gang sing the El Monster song as it recaps the story. It is a poor song but after that El Monster shows off his lamp. Cherry Berry changes the lamp into the letter L as the narrator makes us say it over and over. He then makes us draw the letter L, so we then spell the words we learnt about today once more. The narrator asks us if we know any more words starting with L as Alice then dances away. She creates the letter L. She dances over and over as the captain comes over and asks for our help as he says he is lost. So the gang help the captain get back to the lake as we spell the words we learned today once more. So the captain finally returns to the lake as everyone is happy. We then sing the ABC song once more as the episode then ends on that note. In conclusion, ABC Monsters does what it says on the tin. It teaches kids about each letter of the alphabet and I really like that. However, there were some flaws. Sometimes the background music was louder than the characters talking and that make it hard to hear them, and the show overall was very repetitive. It was the same 3 words over and over. Like they couldn't come up with a 4th word to sprinkle in there to challenge the kids. The stories were okay and very simple and I like that, and I would recommend this show for very young kids like 3 to 5-year-olds to learn some simple words and the basic alphabet. So thank you for watching. If you have any TV shows you like to see me do, put them in the comments.